Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be reviewing TWICE's first Japanese album, BDZ. Before we get started, I want to remind you that this is simply my opinion on the album, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more. TWICE are not only quite busy in Korea, but they also have a pretty successful career in Japan. And after releasing a best-of their most famous Korean songs translated into Japanese, we finally have an album that contains only new songs tailored for the Japanese audience. And no one is surprised to know that their music in Japan doesn't change much from the K-pop ones. And at least in the way that this album is pretty much an album full of cutesy bubblegum pop, just like we are used to by now. And this album cannot be more a by-the-books J-pop album than this one. It definitely feels like a very focused album in the way that it targets a specific type of audience here. And the music style is a 100% bubblegum pop, going all out on the cutesy melodies and lyrics, and because of that, this album doesn't really have many surprises. Of course, you still get the addictive choruses and melodies like on the main promotional song for this one, BDZ. It's very easy to be into it, and I found myself singing along very easily as well. And this album feels very much like a classic J-pop album, and you can really tell the difference between their K-pop releases and J-pop releases quite a lot here, especially on a ballad like Wishing. This ballad is typical J-pop ballad, no doubt about that, and I don't think you would have a song like that in Korea, for example. And I do like the fact that there's a clear difference between each music style, even if in the end of this album it doesn't really help it to be any different or be incredible. And this album has some nice qualities. For example, it doesn't last too long, it's a bit over 30 minutes, but it goes really fast and you can go back to it very easily, especially on some songs. And you know, they have the hooks and the cute upbeat melodies, and honestly overall this album, it's all the check marks that it's aiming for, but this said, my biggest issue with this album is the lack of diversity. This album is pretty much the same recipe used over and over, and it gets old very fast. And you know, for the last 2 years, I really got into their music, especially their K-pop music, and I've grown to be quite interested in the music, and I was looking forward to this album and see what they would do for a Japanese audience, but I have to say I'm really not that into it. It feels too cute, and it's more like a sugar rush I didn't ask for, and I ended up not really remembering much from this album, even after I listened to it a couple times, and yeah, I just wasn't that interested into it. In the end, this Japanese debut suffers from a lack of diversity and too much of the same thing over and over, and I found myself being more annoyed with this release than anything else. And if it does indeed have the hooks and typical TWICE sound, this album does feel a bit forced, and it just doesn't flow as naturally as their K-pop discography to me, and that's why I give the album 2.5 stars. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to tell me what you think of the album down below, and I'll see you next time.